Yeah, so my girlfriend's mom actually lives out in Kanab, which is about an hour and a half outside of St. George. She injured her hip and is currently in rehab in St. George. So we were driving out to Kanab to check out on her place since she hadn't been there in a couple weeks, and that's kind of when we came across everything right outside of Hurricane.
And so can you kind of just walk me step by step on what happened?
Sure. About 5 minutes outside of Hurricane, headed north on State Route 59. We were coming around. There are a lot of curves out there. It seems to be a pretty dangerous stretch of road. We were coming around a curve, and I don't know, about 20, 30 feet away from us, we see that Toyota swerving, and we initially thought that they were just driving like idiots or something, drifting around a corner. Didn't look like they were out of control at that point, and they cut back to the right and hit that embankment and flipped over.
And can you kind of describe the scene after that impact happened?
It was kind of surreal, man. You don't really expect to come across that. I mean, you see it every day when you're driving, and you just kind of pass it, and you're not involved in it, and never expect to be. It was crazy, man. When that car flipped over, uh, things just kind of slowed down. I guess adrenaline kicked in or something. It was a mangled mess. There was shrapnel, I guess, everywhere, and it was really crazy.
And you kind of already mentioned this, but I just, you know, um, how did you feel, when you saw that? What was going through your head? You mentioned you were with your girlfriend as well,
Right, right,
right?
yeah. Well, there was a crazy situation prior to that. I was driving the speed limit, but even the speed limit on those roads is kind of dangerous with the curves. We were going around that curve that kind of brought us around to where they were, and my girlfriend had mentioned, she was like, go a little slower on these curves, because earlier in the day we had our dogs in the back seat, and our dog puked because she just doesn't like riding in the car, I guess. And so I reluctantly agreed. Your kind of first thought whenever someone tells you to drive slower and you're driving the speed limit is like, yeah, okay. But I reluctantly agreed and slowed down a little bit, and it was literally 2 minutes before that happened. Um, yeah, I've never been involved in a wreck like that.
And after that wreck, how did you guys respond? Did you guys see anything going on? Did you guys pull over? What was the situation like?
Yeah, as soon as I saw the wreck, I had pulled over and looked at my girlfriend and told her I have to go help them. And I jumped out, and there was still traffic coming up headed north. So I kind of put my arm out, hoping they didn't hit me. But I ran over to the car, uh, and I didn't realize at the time that it was the passenger side because I was a little disoriented at that point. The car was upside down. It was, turned around and everything. Uh, so I started grabbing at the door, try to get it open, and it was pretty hard to get open. And I hear someone in there moving around, and I'm asking, "Are you okay?" And he says, "I'm okay." We get the door open, and he was already out of his seatbelt, kind of had his feet on the ground, like he, come out of the seat and flipped around. So I helped him get out of the vehicle and took him across to the other side of the road. Told him to sit down, asked him, if he was hurt or anything like that. And a couple minutes went by without realizing there was somebody else in the vehicle. He may have been in shock. So, he says, "Is she okay?" And I say, "Oh, there's someone else in the vehicle." And he said, "Yeah, the driver." And that's when it clicked that I just pulled the passenger out. So I ran around to the other side, to the driver's side, and tried to get that door open, and it was just completely wedged shut. It wasn't coming open. Banged on the door and asked, "Is anybody in there? Are you responsive? Can you hear me?" And I got no response. So I went back around to the other side and climbed in the passenger side where I helped him get out. And the driver was like upside down, still attached in the seat, and the seat belt was really tight against their skin. So I guess this is the best PSA you could ever get for wearing your seatbelt. That saved her life. I ran back to the car, got a knife, cut her out, and pulled her out. And miraculously, they were both okay.
And I mean, again, it was a pretty big impact. Were you surprised that they were okay?
I was. When I pulled the first guy out and he got out and was still walking, I thought that was a miracle in and of itself. When I go to the car and I don't get a response, I really thought I was going to be pulling out dead bodies out of that vehicle. Um, yeah, I thought the lady was going to be dead when I went in there, and I'm so glad she was, and I'm so glad that they were okay.
And how do you feel after this experience?
Um, I feel like everybody should just be a little slower when you're going somewhere. You're never going to get there. Wear your seatbelt like these people did. That's what saved their life. I also have to mention that the power of people. There were a couple other people, a lady and another guy, that hopped out after I got there, and they started directing traffic to make sure that we were safe. And yeah, I just can't say enough about how good people can be whenever they're faced with a situation like that.
So thank you. And is there anything else you want to mention that we didn't discuss?
Uh, I mean, yeah, I mean, I already touched on it, but man, don't. There's no reason to get somewhere a couple minutes early. There's no reason to. I don't know what was going on in the car. I don't know if they were distracted or anything like that. But there's no reason to take your eyes off of the road, especially going through a place like that. That could have ended up so much worse for everybody involved. And I'm just really glad it didn't. The police response out in Hurricane was amazing. The emergency personnel showed up really quickly, and I mean they were just right to it, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I can send you, the story once it's done. It should be
Cool,
airing tonight at 5 and 6, so I can send you that link.
cool. Thank you, man. And yeah, I hope when you guys edit this that you do mention the other two people that were there. Like really, I've never seen people just jump out so willing to put themselves, in harm's way to help perfect strangers. I actually saw I saw the lady that hopped out on Facebook. She commented on the story, and I reached out to her as I drove away from that scene. I told my girlfriend that I felt like in some weird way that the lady that hopped out and the guy that hopped out and myself were connected. And lo and behold, I come across her again on Facebook. So I hope that I'm able to to find him so I can reach out to him as well. And I hope those people that were involved in the crash are safe today.